Hey everyone, Namaste. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And I know that I'm returning back to this channel after so long. So I promise that I'll try to be regular on this channel, and I'll try to post regular videos on this very channel. So the very first topic which I'm going to start my this whole video journey on this YouTube channel is your left politics in colonial India. We are going to talk about the left politics, the communist politics or the socialist politics. How was left working within the Congress? How the Communist Party of India it came into being? How the communist movement it started in colonial India? We are going to talk about some of the leaders or the communist leaders and how they what were the roles which have been played by these leaders. I'm also going to talk about different Congress leaders themselves, like Subhash Chandra Bose, like Jawaharlal Nehru, and what were their take towards socialism, what are their views towards socialism, and how that thing actually changed the whole politics of Congress. So we are going to talk all about these things, but as you have already heard, like what are the topics I'm going to talk about, so you must be thinking that okay, this is going to be a very long session. So and it will be a long session, but what I will do is that I'm going to divide this whole topic which I have just mentioned into small videos so that you won't get bored while listening to me, because it's not on an academy platform that I'm taking the session and you are not able to interact with me. So I will try to keep the videos just 10-15 minutes. I'll like really try, because आप जो मुझे रेगुलर देखते होंगे उनको ये पता होगा कि हम बहुत जल्दी कुछ नहीं कर पाते हैं, बट स्टिल लाइक आई ट्राई टू मेक स्मॉल वीडियोस, और इसको हम ऐसे 2 या 3 या 4 पार्ट जितने भी लगेंगे हम उसमें इस टॉपिक को पूरा फिनिश कर देंगे. बट बिफोर स्टार्टिंग माय session on the left politics in colonial India, a very short intro for those students, those learners who don't know me or who are seeing me for the first time. So hi everyone. My name is Bengali Om, and I teach history on an academy platform for NTE, UGC, NET, and SET examinations. And I have been teaching on that platform for last 3 years, in fact more than 3 years. Right now, I'm a research scholar. In Lucknow University and pursuing my PhD. Apart from that, I'm also a research associate in one ICSSR project in BHU. Previously, I worked as guest faculty in University of Delhi, and यही आपके काम की चीज़ है. बाकी मैं अनअकैडमी प्लेटफॉर्म पे रहता हूँ, वहाँ पे पढ़ाता हूँ, रेगुलर सेशंस होते हैं. तो अगर आपको मेरी और भी क्लासेस देखनी है तो आपको अनअकैडमी पे आना पड़ेगा. अनअकैडमी पे आपको हमें सर्च करना पड़ेगा. चंद्रपाल तिवारी या ओम तिवारी के नाम से मैं आपको दिख जाऊँगा. If you want to see more of me, if you want to see regular notifications about what I'm doing, तो आप मुझे फॉलो भी कर सकते हैं अलग अलग सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पे. तो आप मुझे टेलीग्राम पे भी फॉलो कर सकते हैं. यू जस्ट नीड टू सर्च ओम्स हिस्ट्री, एंड इफ यू सर्च ओम्स हिस्ट्री यू विल फाइंड मी. ज्वाइन द ग्रुप. वहाँ पे हम अपने रेगुलर क्लासेस जो होते हैं उसके बारे में बताते हैं. अगर आपको कोई डाउट होता है, अगर आपके कोई सवाल होते हैं, तो आई ट्राई टू आंसर दोज एज वेल. आई एम ऑन यूट्यूब एज वेल, जिसमें आप मुझे देख रहे हैं. सो ओम्स हिस्ट्री, अगर आप पहली बार हैं तो यू जस्ट hit the subscribe button, so whenever I upload any video you get the notification of that. You can find me on Instagram as well. You just search @omshistory and you will find me. Now coming towards this topic which we are going to talk about, that is the left politics in India. Okay, so guys, the left politics in India or leftism in India, it actually grew out of the special politico-economic circumstances which have been prevailing in India, especially towards the end of First World War. And that's why the emergence of the left politics in India, it could be divided into, or it could be seen into 3 streams. Okay, the stream 1, it is basically the rise of left within Indian National Congress. Okay, this was the first stream in which it was the stream 1 in which the left politics it started within Indian National Congress. For example, formation of Congress Socialist Party in 1934. Stream 2, the second stream of this whole left movement or left politics, it was the rise of communists on the platform of Communist Party of India, which was formed in 1925, which functioned as a branch of your Comintern or International Communist Movement, and which was largely controlled by the Communist International. The third stream was other party organizations like HSRA, like Royals, like Ford Bloc. Royals किसको बोल रहे हैं? Basically those people who were the supporter of M.N. Roy, they were called as Royists. And also individuals like Indulal Yagnik, like Sahajanand Saraswati, like NC Ranga. So this was the stream third, or the third stream of the left politics. Okay. In today's session, in this very first session, we are going to focus on the second stream, basically, how the this communist movement it actually has risen, or what was the background of it, and how the communist movement or Communist Party of India it came into being. We are going to talk about that. Now, before talking about like the formation of Communist Party of India or the communist movement in India, we need to talk about the factors which are responsible for the rise of your left politics. So there are so many factors which are responsible for this, guys. Let me change the color first and a bit thickness. Yes. Now, if we talk about the factors, so these are some of the major factors which I have listed here in this slide. So the first is obviously the British rule and the colonial nature of the British rule. Okay, like the British colonial rule and exploitation of Indian economy and various section of socio-economic structure, it made some patriotic intellectuals drift towards the leftist ideologies. Particularly those who lived in West and had links with it, and who were thinking, who were understanding what was the whole system, what was the whole colonial system which is happening in India, or which is being imposed on India. Then there was this land-based exploitation and exploitation of agricultural laborers which were happening on the basis of the revenue scheme, and the very harsh and exploitative revenue scheme. We all know, or you must have heard about different kind of revenue settlements which have been made by the Britishers, from permanent settlements to Mahalwadi settlements, and there were some sub settlements, also some sub parts of these settlements were also there, and the British government, be it East India Company or the Crown, they were very relentless in extracting revenue. Then we have the emergence of Kisan Sabha movement. It was also one of the reason for the rise of the left. Then rise of the modern industries. How the rise of the modern industries? Rise of the modern industries, basically those industries which were based on capitalist system and exploitation of the factory workers. Okay, because you must have heard about that dictum which was given by Marx, that the workers of the world unite. So basically these workers, who were these? The most prominent workers were factory workers, the industrial workers. So the rise of modern industries in India on the basis of that capitalist ecosystem, or on the basis of that exploitation of factory workers which were going happening world around. तो उसके basis पे जो यहाँ पे इंडिया में आपके establish हुआ, this was also one of the reason for the rise of the left. Then the First World War. First World War was also the reason how the financial burden basically which was brought by the First World War. इसके बाद the ideas of Marx के ideas बहुत ज़्यादा important थे. Why? Because see, what was the left movement? Left movement was basically it was led by the common people. It was led by the working class. The working class में आपके peasant आ रहे हैं, आपके laborers आ रहे हैं, आपके lower class या lower middle class आ रहे हैं. So these people, they are the one who are actually directly involved in the production, in the social production, in the economic production, but they are not, or they do not have their full control over these production process. Okay, जितनी मेहनत वो लगा रहे हैं उस पर उसके एवज में उनको उतना मिल नहीं रहा है. ओके, तो अगर कोई एक इंडस्ट्री बहुत ज्यादा ग्रो कर रही है तो उस ग्रोथ के प्रपोर्शन में उसके वर्कर्स को उतना वेजेस नहीं मिल रहे हैं, उतना कंपनसेशन नहीं मिल रहा है, इसलिए उनकी कंडीशन बहुत ज्यादा इंक्रीज नहीं हो रही है, बट उन जो उनको कंट्रोल कर रहा है उनकी कंडीशन बहुत ज्यादा इंप्रूव हो रही है, वो काफी रिच होते जा रहे हैं. तो इसलिए मार्क्स ने आइडिया दिया कि ओके, दीज लेबरर्स, दीज वर्कर्स, दीज व्हाट ही कॉल्ड एज प्रोलेटेरिएट, दे नीड टू यूनाइट एंड दे नीड टू चेंज दिस होल सिस्टम. सो द आइडियाज ऑफ मार्क्स वर आल्सो वन ऑफ द रीजन. देन USSR saw that how the people, the peasantry, it actually challenged and changed the whole system, whole government. Then we have certain leaders inside the Congress, early leaders of the Congress, they had socialist links. Who are those leaders? Some of them you must be knowing, but we are going to talk about in detail. like about this section. Then we have radical youths. Radical youths, like the young youths who were disenchanted with the non-cooperation movement, और उसको वापस ले लिया गया, and they knew that okay, now we do not want to, or we will not be able to gain Swaraj in a within a year or within this less amount of time as Mahatma Gandhi has promised. So they started getting moving away from Mahatma Gandhi's ideology, and they now started thinking, if we do not just need to fight the Britishers, but we also need to fight the this whole economic system, this whole like exploitative economic system. Then rise of some of the leaders like your M.N. Roy, like Subhash Chandra Bose, like Jawaharlal Nehru, such leaders, their rise, it was also important. Then rise of various organizations, various newspapers, various journals, some of them I will talk about today. So they were also some of the factors responsible for the rise of the left movement. Then the foreigners. How foreigners? There were many foreigners like H.L. Hutchinson, like P.F. Bradley, like P. Spratt. All of these you must have heard about their name in Meerut conspiracy case. So these foreigners, they were also responsible for the rise of the left. Then the suspension of civil disobedience movement. Now, the suspension of civil disobedience movement, how come it became one of the factors behind the rise of the left? See guys, what happened when the civil disobedience movement was suspended in 1934, it generated a sense of despair, and this was a time period when the people, the masses, large number of leaders, they started getting disenchanted with the Gandhian ideology. They started moving away from Gandhian ideology. And this was in fact the time period when Mahatma Gandhi's ideology, it was not liked much by leaders. Even like Jawaharlal Nehru, he started questioning about the whole political strategy of Mahatma Gandhi. So in that case, what started happening, that the left, or the left politics and left ideology, it emerged as a some sort of alternative. Okay, so it was also one of the factors responsible for the rise of the left. Now coming towards the rise and growth of communist movement. So Indian communism, it sprang from roots within the Indian national movement as a result of the disillusioned revolutionaries, like I was talking about, some non-cooperators, खिलाफत movement में जो participate किए थे, जब खिलाफत movement आपका decline कर गया, तो some of those activists, some labor and peasant activists as well, and all of them, they were sorting or they were seeking new roads to political and social emancipation, and that's how they started looking towards this socialism, or they started looking towards this leftist politics. Okay, now its founder, the main founder of this communist movement in India, it was the Yugantar revolutionary Naren Bhattacharjee. Naren Bhattacharjee, who was also known as Manabendra Nath Roy or M.N. Roy, जिनको आप popularly जानते हैं, who came into contact with Bolshevik Mikhail Borodin in Mexico in 1919, and that's how he had this idea of finding a movement based on the communist ideology in India as well. In October 1920, M.N. Roy, Abani Mukherjee, and some Khilafatists, they like Muhammad Ali and Muhammad Shafiq, they founded a Communist Party of India in Tashkent. It was happening in Tashkent. It was not happening in India. Please focus here. So the first like these guys, M.N. Roy, Abani Mukherjee, some Khilafat leaders like Khilafat leaders like Muhammad Ali and Muhammad Shafiq, they found this Communist Party of India in Tashkent together with a political military school when hopes of penetrating India through Afghanistan faded away. You might be knowing about this Hindu Zimmerman conspiracy, which was there during the time period of First World War, where the Gadar people, they have dreamt that they will raise an 1857 kind of movement or Gadar in India, and the forces, they will penetrate India from northwest, from Afghanistan, and they will defeat the Britishers. Now in early 1921, some of the new Indian recruiters, they joined the Communist University of Toilers of East of Moscow, and this university also became important because like this university, for the first time, it trained these leaders in communism, in communist ideology. Now M.N. Roy himself, he shifted his headquarters to Berlin and there he started a fortnightly which was called as Vanguard of Indian Independence, and he also started publishing in collaboration with Avani Mukherjee this India in Transition. These were a pioneering attempt at a Marxist analysis of Indian economy and Indian society, and it started happening with the coming of M.N. Roy, and these things happened somewhere around 1921-22. Now, a large number of copies of Vanguard of Indian Independence, they were sent to individual nationalists, trade unionists, and intellectuals in India. They started discussing about these issues and the issues raised in these journals. In 1923, S.A. Dang, he started a publication of an English weekly which was entitled Socialist, and it was published from Bombay. And at about the same time, there was this Gyanwani, not Gyanwani, basically it was a Janwani. It was a Bengali weekly which was started from Calcutta in 1923 only. There were some other Indian revolutionaries as well, or groups who were turning towards Marxism. जिसमें most notably the group was that old Berlin group which was headed by Virendranath Chattopadhyay, Bhupendranath Dutt, Barkatullah, whose efforts in 1921 to win Soviet backing were blocked by Roy out of essentially factional motives, but who started an Indian Independence Party in Berlin in the following year. So this was also happening when various revolutionaries, they joined this communist movement, or they joined this Marxism or Marxist state, and because of factionalism, some sort of factionalism also happened, and इसलिए इनका जो एक अटेम्प्ट था कि लाइक सोवियत की बैकिंग चाहिए आपके इंडियन नेशनल मूवमेंट में या मार्क्सिस्ट मूवमेंट आपकी जो चल रही है इंडिया में, उसके लिए उसको ब्लॉक किया गया M.N. रॉय के ग्रुप के द्वारा या रॉयस ग्रुप के द्वारा. एनीवे 1920s के मिड में हम देखते हैं there was an important section of Ghadar movement in exile, those people who were supporting the Ghadar movement, because Ghadar movement has already been declined in India. They had also turned towards the communists under Ratan Singh, Santokh Singh and Teja Singh Swatantra. Okay, Teja Singh Swatantra. So that's how we are seeing that by mid 1920s, different streams of people, different groups of people, they were joining Marxist or communist movement. By the end of 1922 AD, through emissaries like Nalini Gupta, like Shaukat Usmani Roy, they had been able to establish some tenuous and often intercepted secret links between different like communist groups which were running in India. So 1922 के around, ये Nalini Gupta and Shaukat Usmani, who was basically the followers of the Roy, they were the Royists, they were the followers of M.N. Roy. They were able to have some sort of link with different communist groups which were working in India. For example, in Bombay, this group was headed by S.A. Dang. In Calcutta, it was Muzaffar Ahmad, under Muzaffar Ahmad. In Madras, it was Singar Velu, and in Lahore, it was Ghulam Hussain. So these were people, and इनके बीच में इनसे एक connection establish किया आपके नलिनी गुप्ता और शौकत उस्मानी ने. Then in a letter to S.A. Dang, which was written by M.N. Roy on 2nd October 1922, Roy has basically given a plan for a dual organization. Okay, for a dual organization. How come a dual organization? One organization which would be legal and another illegal secret communist nucleus working within a broad front workers and peasants party. This is important. See what was happening, guys. ये जो communist movement आपके world over चल रहे थे, those communist movement was such is that like the communist ideology was like कि you have to bring a revolution against the present government. Then only you can approve the present government, and after approving that present government, you will establish a dictatorship. Okay, that is in a transitionary phase, a dictatorship of proletariat, which was mentioned in Marxism. And under this dictatorship of proletariat, which will be a transitionary phase, you will change the social equations, and then only you can move towards the communism. So every established like government, especially the Western governments, the British government, they had blocked any kind of such communist movement, and they had labeled such communist movement as anti-national movement. Okay, that's why many of the communist leaders of the communist movements which were happening, they were working as a secret society. तो आपके एम एन रॉय ने 1922 में ऐसे डांग को एक लेटर लिखा और उसमें उन्होंने प्लान अपना बताया कि हमको एक डुअल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एस्टैब्लिश करना चाहिए, जो एक आपका लीडर होगा जो बहुत ज्यादा ऐसे एक्सट्रीमिस्ट वाले बातें नहीं बोलेगा, और जो एक फ्रंट बनाएगा वर्कर्स एंड पेजेंट्स पार्टी के नाम से, और उसके अंडर कुछ इलीगल सीक्रेट कम्युनिस्ट सोसाइटीज भी चलेंगी जो आपके रेवोल्यूशन बिल्डअप करेगी. Okay, so this was the plan which was mentioned by M.N. Roy in 1922 to S.A. Down. Now, however, most of the Indian historians they accept that the organized communism came to India when the followers of M.N. Roy they came to India. ओके, तो अभी तक ये 1922 या मिड 1920s जो भी एफर्ट आपके हो रहे हैं कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी या कम्युनिज्म को बढ़ावा देने के लिए, वो सारे इतने ज्यादा फेमस नहीं हुए, इतने ज्यादा सक्सेसफुल नहीं हुए. एंड द हिस्टोरियंस दे बिलीव दिस थिंग दैट इट वाज ओनली आफ्टर द फॉलोअर्स ऑफ एम.एन. रॉय दे केम इन इंडिया, then only that communist movement or communism it came to India. So like Nalini Gupta, she was one of the follower of M.N. Roy. She returned to India in 1921 AD on behalf of M.N. Roy. Then Abani Mukherjee came to India in 1923 on behalf of Virendranath Chattopadhyay, and both of them they had been members of the terrorist organizations or the extremist organizations in Bengal before they went outside India and moved towards the communist ideology. Okay, why I'm using this terrorist organization? Because these are the terminology which was used by your students like Sumit Sarkar and all for the extremist people. Okay, but basically they were more related to the extremist youths or extremist organizations, and after that when the suppression started by the Britishers, they started moving towards ब्रिटेन, एंड वहां पे उन्होंने कम्युनिज्म या कम्युनिस्ट आइडियोलॉजी को ज्वाइन किया, एंड दे बिकेम द फॉलोअर ऑफ एम.एन. रॉय एंड दे केम बैक टू इंडिया एंड दे स्टार्टेड वर्किंग टुवर्ड्स building up a communist movement in India. Now the communist international muhajirs or muhajirs were basically these communist international muhajirs were those who were the erstwhile Khilafat leaders. Okay, they were the Khilafat leaders who had joined the Communist International, so they were called as muhajirs, and they tried to re-enter India, but they were tried by the government in a series of Peshawar conspiracy cases between 1922 to 1927, and in May 1924, Muzaffar Ahmad, S.A. Dang, Shaukat Usmani and Nalini Gupta, all of them they were jailed in Kanpur Bolshevik conspiracy case 1924 mein. So this was like the first setback which was felt by the communist leaders in 1920s or in 1920 like till 1924. Now the setback which was caused by such repressive measures, however, it proved only temporary. Okay, only temporary, because an open Indian communist conference, it was held in Kanpur in December 1925. Please focus here. It was an open Indian Communist conference. It was not an illegal conference. It was an open. It was a legal conference which held in Kanpur in December 1925, and which was organized by Satyabhakt. His real name was basically Chakkan Lal. So Satyabhakt, who proved very much like of a bird of passage. Basically, he was a सूत्रधार जिन्होंने ये आपका organize किया था Indian Communist Conference. Hasrat Mohani, he was the chairman of the reception committee here, and Singer Velu, he was the president of this very conference. So this conference happened in 1925. Now this conference, यहाँ पे this whole idea of making such a conference or building such a conference, it was being proposed by diverse groups, जिनकी ग्रुप्स की हमने अभी बात की. बहुत सारे ग्रुप्स जो लाइक आपके गदर मूवमेंट से जुड़े थे, खिलाफत मूवमेंट से जुड़े थे, जो एक्सट्रीमिस्ट लीडरशिप थी, जो एम.एन. रॉय के एमिसरीज थे, ग्रुप्स थे. ओके, तो इन सब ने एक आइडिया फ्लोट किया कि हमें एक इंडियन कम्युनिस्ट कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑर्गेनाइज करना चाहिए और वहां पे हमें कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी ऑफ इंडिया या एक कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी को फॉर्म करना चाहिए. तो ये सारी चीजें इस डाइवर्स ग्रुप ने लाइक उनके आइडिया से ये कॉन्फ्रेंस आपका बना, बट soon we start finding that this whole organization, which was just a blueprint, it was soon taken over by more determined communists like your SV Ghate or SV Ghate from Bombay. So he started taking over this whole communist movement or Communist Party of India, and that's how your Communist Party of India or communist movement in India, it was born. Okay, so this was the story of how the communist movement in India was born. I know, like, I have promised a small session, but इससे ज़्यादा small हमसे हो नहीं पाएगा. So in the next session, what I will talk about, guys, in the next session I'm going to talk about the history of the communist movement in India. And in that session I will talk about various phases of communist movement in India. I will discuss the communist movement phases into or this whole history of communist movement into 5 phases. तो हम first phase, second phase ऐसे हम करेंगे. For this very session, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. आपको वीडियो कैसा लगा? Do let me know. If you have any question, especially if you have any question, you can कमेंट बिलो द वीडियो. अगर आपका कोई क्वेश्चन हो, कुछ आपके मन में डाउट हो, अगर आपके पास कोई सजेशन हो, तभी वो आप हमें दे सकते हैं. यू कैन ज्वाइन मी ऑन लाइक Instagram. You can search Om's History. You can join my page there. You can also join my Telegram channel, जो आप सबके लिए ही है, Om's History for anti-UGC NET and SET students. So you can join that channel as well. YouTube पे आप हैं ही, वो वीडियो देख ही रहे हैं, तो अगर आपने इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो सब्सक्राइब to this channel. And I'm going to meet you guys or see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.